All right, this one's really quick. Notice we have just left the radical stage. So we have left the first and second and third readings. The radical stage ended with the death, Lisa, of Robespierre. The radical stage is over. The terror is over. The Thermidorian reaction. God, guys, let's just stop, let's breathe, let's think, has happened. It's the conservative phase. People are sick of the guillotine. People are sick of blood. So in 1795 until 1799, it is a new moderate stage. Until somebody comes along in 1799, 1800 and takes things to a new level. Who is that? Napoleon. So we have two stages left. I'm going to give you the outline right now in 30 seconds. Origins of the French Revolution, the 5 major causes. The moderate stages of the French Revolution, the main events that caused it. The main events that caused the French Revolution from 1789 until 1792. The events during the moderate stage that caused that revolution to spin out of control and lead to the radical stage, the terror. Who are the main social groups? You should know the Jacobins, the sans-culottes. You should know Robespierre. You should know the main nobility. Yes, Jessica? I can't hear you, Jessica.
Were the
Jacobins?
Yeah, Jacobins and the same.
Sans-culottes, yeah. Pretty much the same thing? Pretty much. Pretty much. The same interest. So now we reach the conservative phase. Okay, so no, sorry. So yeah, origin of the French Revolution, moderate stage, radical stage, terror, Robespierre, causes of that, be able to talk about that. And then the Thermidorian reaction, which is the conservative stage. Now, if Napoleon comes along after 4 years of the Thermidorian reaction, I'll ask you to do a little bit of thinking right now so that when you write your essay, you can actually do it from thinking instead of from memorizing. If Napoleon had to come along in 1799, how successful were these years? Pretty bad, because they needed a guy to come in and say, okay, dictatorship. And everybody else was like, woohoo, we need a dictatorship. So the Thermidorian reaction after the terror was again not a successful thing. But when you are being invaded and fighting wars against 5 other countries, while dealing with domestic crises all over the place, it's hard to imagine how any group of people could control that. France was in a horrible situation. So here we go. This one's short. Again, Thermidorian reaction. The last 5 years of the 1700s. They're trying to undo all of the extreme things that the radicals and June, the Robespierres, did. So they're going to take power away from Robespierre's Committee of Public Safety. No longer can you come along and arrest somebody because somebody else said that they were a counter-revolutionary. You got to have fairer trials. You can't just chop their heads off first and then ask questions. You know, decapitate first, ask questions later. You can't do it. They closed the Jacobin clubs, which were very radical clubs. People at the Jacobin clubs, I picture them, you know, there's 1,000 of us guys in there, we're talking, we're giving speeches, we're drinking while we do it, and by the end of it, half drunk, we run out into the streets, a little bit irrational and really excited by all of our speeches. And so we're dangerous. We are a mob, possibly, a lot of the time. They reopened churches. Remember, they had said, okay, you cannot sell bread at the prices you've been selling bread. They controlled the bread prices. Think about it if you're a baker, and the government is telling you, you can't sell your bread for what you've been selling your bread for. Well, you've got to pay bills too. Think about it if you're a peasant or a farmer, and the government says, you can't sell your wheat to the baker at the price you've been selling it. You have to sell it at this lower price. What is that going to do to you, the farmer? You have to pay taxes. You have to feed your family. All this sort of thing. So all of those government controls of prices, the Thermidorian reaction, the conservative phase, lifted. Anybody know this term? Patrick?
Like the leaders just make the community just take over and just let them do what they want.
Yeah, laissez-faire. Who can define this in French? Who can translate it? Laissez-faire. Laisser means to leave. To leave or to let. Like, leave him alone. Okay, good. Okay, you can do something to make the bad thing stop buzzing. Okay, good, thank you. Good, I know. All right, so laissez-faire means let business people's prices and all those things work according to however it works. Don't control it. Let it go naturally. Let trade and prices and all that stuff go naturally. Don't try to control the economy with the government. So this is capitalism. This is capitalism. Government should get out of the way of business people. Let them compete, set their own prices. And let it be. Let them do. That's basically what it means. Let them do. Fair is to do or to make. So just let them make their own prices. Let them do everything. Free market. And they wrote a new constitution. Which was more conservative? Again, the Thermidorian reaction is a conservative phase. We have moderate, then we have radical, now we have conservative, after the radical, after the terror. How does the conservative look? The Paris Commune, which was a radical group, probably Jacobin, was outlawed. And the people who were accusing other people of being counter-revolutionaries during the terror were now being put on trial for being terrorists during the terror. So those people who were attacked during the terror are now attacking their original attackers. So it's sort of a counter-terror. It's a counter-terror. They call it a white terror. Inflation is still spiraling out of control. The bourgeoisie had power back because people were sick of the terror. And because the bourgeoisie now has the power back, life is pretty good for them, and they start caring, you know, more about fashion and Gucci and nice little dinner parties. This comes back in. Because finally they get to walk around acting like the aristocrats. Finally, we are the aristocrats. Because the aristocrats don't exist anymore. The second estate's gone. So the bourgeoisie gets to walk around imitating the aristocracy, throwing little parties, wearing their fashions, putting their noses very high in the air. Politics were corrupt. The church comes back. What does democracy look like under this conservative phase? You had a five-man committee, oligarchy. Know this term. Democracy, rule of the people, however you define the people. Oligarchy, rule of a small group of people. Here, in this case, 5 people. It's like a dictatorship of a small group. That's what oligarchy means. The basic political term. If you want to be an intelligent, educated young person, use this language. It's basic political language. Notice who has power here. The Council of Elders, Council of 500, married or widowed males over 40 years of age. How did you get elected? Who had the vote? It's predictable, it's conservative here. Only people who owned or rented property, well, the 30,000 most wealthy people in the bourgeoisie, in the whole country. So you had all males over 21 who paid taxes electing the electors, who are the 30,000 most wealthy. And they're the ones who get to elect the representatives. It's sort of a twisted system. You can see, it started as a financial problem, it's still a financial problem. There are still bread riots in 1795. So for all these 4 years of the Directory, that's the name of this committee, the Directory. Am I right there, June? Things are getting no better, except for the small group of people who have power and their families. Napoleon sees that France is still unraveling. They're still at war with a lot of other countries. So Napoleon comes in and takes power. We're going to speed through a Napoleon PowerPoint real quickly. But the guy at the beginning of our lecture who said, what is the third estate? Traditionally it's been nothing. What is it now? It should be everything. The Abbe, the enlightened religious man Abbe Sieyès. Now he's talking about the fact that France has had no authority that has worked. In the moderate stage it didn't work. In the terror it didn't work. In the conservative Thermidorian stage it didn't work. The people wanted leadership that worked. So they were ready for a dictator. Confidence from below, authority from above. Napoleon was a general in the army. He had won some impressive battles, and he had been very quiet about the ones that he lost. And so the people loved Napoleon. And when he came in and took power, they had confidence in him. They wanted a dictator. They wanted a strong person to take control. So Napoleon does a coup d'etat. For those of you who don't know what a coup d'etat is, or how to pronounce it, it's not coup d'etat. It's coup, say it with me, coup d'etat. Coup d'etat. In France, I don't know why they use, it's very, very bad environmentally because they're wasting all of their last consonants. They never pronounce the last consonant. Why is it even there? Why isn't it just coup, C-O-U, d'etat? Because they don't pronounce the P, coup. No, it's French. Know this. When you speak French, you don't want to look bad by mangling it. Coup d'etat, meaning, coup means cut. Coupon, you cut a coupon out? Coupon, cut. Coup d'etat. You're cutting the head of the state off and taking power yourself. Napoleon took power. D'etat is state. State. When a person comes in and usually at gunpoint or sword point says, okay, I know you were the government last week, but guess what? You've got two choices. You can either die and let me take charge, or you can not die and let me take charge. Where's Napoleon? Where's Napoleon? Where's Napoleon? Where's Napoleon? There he is. Okay, 1899, 1799, Napoleon takes power. So 10 years after the French Revolution broke out, it had a 10-year life, and then it turns into a dictatorship because of this man. Real quickly, this is a long PowerPoint. He conquered northern Italy for France. So France during the Revolution, they're actually winning some battles and taking more land from other countries. They're surrounded by enemies, but they're actually winning against all odds because of this guy's genius. So he conquers most of northern Italy. He gets to govern it. He's like, oh, I kind of like being the governor of the conquered territory. It's kind of fun to be the king, the boss. And as he conquered, he did enlightened things. Now there's a big debate to this day. Historians love Napoleon because he's so fun to argue about. Some people say that he was a tyrant and a dictator and a horrible man, power-hungry, horrible man. Other people say he was one of the greatest men ever to live. And they both have evidence. So historians argue, they've been arguing since the man died, about whether he was a hero or a villain. Look what he does as he conquers. He spreads the Enlightenment. You've got priests and churches that are taking peasant money and peasant tithes and living off of all this land that they own and not paying taxes. Napoleon is taking that land from the churches and using it for the good of the people. He's ending their having to pay tithes to the church, all that sort of thing. He's ending serfdom, where people are owned by their feudal lords, by the aristocrats. So Napoleon is going, he's conquering the privilege, but liberating the underprivileged. You're a serf, you're a slave to your master, you're property of your master, no more. You're a free human being now. You're a citizen. And he's ending the privileges of the nobility. Wait.
Seeing people from